And this is my video plan for Celeste and Alea. I'm going to be teaching them Spanish, and more specifically, I'm going to be teaching them the colors in Spanish, which is the first step. Um, I'm going to start the video by telling you what thinking hats I used to be able to plan my lesson and to develop the lesson. I used the yellow hat, the white hat, the green hat, and a little bit of the black hat. Um, I use the yellow the most. I really try to be positive throughout, to have positive thinking throughout the whole planning of the lesson. The white hat, I had to remember and remember all the facts, like the words that I'm going to teach the girls. And the green, I had to use a lot of creativity to be able to develop a lesson where learning another language has to have repetition for us to be able to learn the words and remember the new words for things that we already know. And so there's a lot of repetition and it can get boring. So I use my green thinking hat to be able to come up with different ideas for the girls to be able to learn the colors in different ways. And I use the black hat, which is the negative thinking, um, to really see each station that I created for the girls to learn, um, to see the negative part of, of the lesson, for me to be able to come up with new ideas and see what worked better than what I already planned. So now I'm going to talk about Erikson's psychosocial stages. Even though Alea and Celeste are not at the stage where they have issues with trust versus mistrust, I think that they are going to go back to that station at the beginning of the lesson because they don't know me and because they don't know what to expect from the lesson. So it's going to be a little bit hard for them at the beginning to be able to feel comfortable and just jump right into the lesson. Um, then they'll go back to their own stages, which Celeste is at the autonomy versus shame, um, where they're trying to do things by themselves, and but they're also afraid to do them because um, they're at that stage where they can recognize if they're not comfortable and they're people might laugh at them. So learning another language, I think it's going to take a Leia to that station also, because it's hard to not be shy and not be like to be able to pronounce new words and all those things. So it's going to be take a Leia to that station also. But then Alea is at the station of initiative versus guilt, and I think that because Alea has gone through this process and having lessons with different people, she's going to have initiative and she's going to be more comfortable doing the things that I ask and pronouncing words and all that stuff because she's older than Celeste and she's going to take the initiative. Um, so now I'm going to talk about Piaget cognitive development, um, where I think that, well, Celeste is at the first station, pre-operational stage, where she uses all the sensory and motor skills to be able to learn new stuff. And so girls her age, kids her age, all of them like to touch things, smell things, and to be able to learn and discover new things. Versus Alea, she's at the next stage where she uses symbols and words and images and she puts them together and then she creates, that way she creates her own knowledge and that's the way she learns. In this case, I planned my lesson towards Celeste because I think that Alea is going to be able to go back and start at the beginning, like at the first stage, which is pre-operational stage, because it's a new language. It's like if she were learning English for the first time. And I think that it's going to help her more if she goes to the first stage where she can touch and smell things and taste things than if she were with images and words. I think it will be harder for her to learn that way because she is just at the line of between the first stage and the second stage. So that's why I planned my lesson around the first stage, for Leia also to be a little bit easier, just because it's a different language. Um, all of this stuff and all of the learning a new language is gonna have an effect in their anxiety. I think their trait anxiety and the state anxiety is going to be really, really high. Um, I do not want it to turn into debilitating anxiety. And so I'm going to talk about what am I going to do to be able to make it into facilitating anxiety for both of them, and for them to be able to learn um, the colors and the things that I planned for them. And one of those things I think is the physical arrangement of the room is very important. And more for that stage, they need to know that I'm prepared and that I'm ready and that I really took my time to prepare their lesson. And so I kind of drew a picture of like the classroom, and I put like this is the first station, which is it's going to be in one of the tables. And sorry, I wrote the words in Spanish, but this one says Play-Doh. I'm going to have at the first station Play-Doh, and I'm going to arrange the room this way so it's an easy transition for them. Um, so they smoothly go to the next station and then the next station and then the next station. This is going also to help with that trust and mistrust. I got things that they already have played with. I know that they have played with Play-Doh. They have had Skittles or candy. They have had, I'm going to have cereal so they can make necklaces. And they're going to color pages. So they have touch crayons and stuff like that. And I want to have the room arranged with things that they have had before so that they feel more comfortable in the classroom. This is also going to these are my prototypes, and I got 5 prototypes for them to learn the same information in each station, but we were going to be practicing the same colors here, with different things. And I am going to make it and with sensory register, which I think it helps the kids memorize easier because they're engaged, their whole senses are engaged in the learning process, and their working memory will be able to, because we're gonna practice it 5 times in 5 different ways, their working memory is going to push that knowledge to the long-term memory, which is going to be awesome because they're going to be able to remember that for a long time if they keep practicing later also. So I'm going to also, so the first station is going to be the Play-Doh, and they're going to be touching the colors of the Play-Doh. I'm going to have the primary colors in each and for each girl, and then we're going to mix the colors and see what color we have, what new color comes up, and they're going to learn the colors. We're going to learn the colors in Spanish. All of these we're going to be pronouncing in Spanish. They're going to be repeating it back to me in Spanish. And I'm going to be teaching them the new colors that we mixed together and the new color that came up. Then I'm going to tell them the new color. And so the Play-Doh station is for us to discover what colors we have, which ones are the primary colors, and which colors come after we mix the colors. And so then we're gonna move to the candy station. And here they're gonna be tasting the colors, which is using a different sense. And I'm going to have a page like this where you can't see very well, but each circle has a different color. And so I'm going to tell them the color in Spanish. So this is going to help their retrieve of that knowledge, that they gain. I'm going to tell them the color. For example, I'm going to say, okay, oh, they're going to have a little cup with Skittles. And I'm going to tell them, okay, grab a Skittle that is blue. Everything is going to be in Spanish. Like, grab the azul one. And so they're gonna pick the blue one and match it with the circle. And they're gonna do it by themselves. And I don't want them to get frustrated either. If they can't remember, then I will help them. Um, and so we're going to fill out the whole page, and once it's filled out, then they're going to tell me the color, and whenever they tell me one of the colors, that's the one they get to eat and taste the color. And so that's going to help them also remember the color. The next station is going to be this one right here. And that station is going to be I put a rainbow. I'm gonna have a page with a rainbow, and they're going to color with crayons the rainbow, and they're gonna tell me the colors, and we're gonna be practicing more. Once again, the colors in Spanish, but this time they're gonna use their psychomotor skill domain, which is their physical skills, and coloring is the physical skills. Also, we have learned that writing in the book Make It Stick, we have learned that writing things down, it's way better for us to memorize things. And so I think that if the girls color, it's going to help them memorize the colors better. The next station is going to be the necklace station, and we're going to have the cereal, which is also going to help with their psychomotor domain, because they have to put the yarn through the cereal, and that for little kids is kind of hard sometimes. And also is going to be helping in that station. We're gonna have I'm gonna have my husband help them, and it's gonna help their social development skills. And so they're gonna be able to interact with someone else in Spanish, and they're gonna be able to tell them the colors that they have learned. And my husband is going to be asking them what colors he wants them to put in the through the yarn to make the necklace, and he's going to help them build that necklace. And that's something that they get to take home, and I think that that's really going to help them with those two stages. Then I really hope throughout the lesson that I can be able to see the queuing of the girls if they might be at the Play-Doh station, if they're tired. We're only gonna be doing them for max 5 minutes each station. But if they really get tired of doing Play-Doh, maybe they're gonna be queuing me to tell them, okay, this is boring, we want to go to the next thing. And so I'm gonna pay attention to that and be able to maybe move the lesson to something else. I want to make sure that the self-esteem it's high, and I'm gonna be repeating that to them, that they're doing a good job, and that learning another language is not easy, that they're doing a really good job. Also, I don't know if I talked about mastery learning already, but I think it's very important for me to give them feedback. If they're pronouncing a word wrong, then I'm going to be able to tell them to correct them, so that they don't go home and they're pronouncing the word incorrectly. And I'm going to make sure that I'm always close enough to them and high-fiving them and encouraging them, and because that really gives them that extrinsic motivation that they need to learn, and it motivates them um, to learn another language and to continue with the lesson. Um, the last thing that we are going to do, and it's a game that we're going to play. It's kind of like, oh, I didn't talk about it, but at the beginning of the lesson, I'm gonna have a pre-assessment for them, and I'm going to ask them what things they know about the Spanish, if they know any words, if they know the colors. Um, that's gonna help me know their schema, and um, maybe personal theories that they have, and of the language. And at the end of the lesson, I'm going to kind of like do a quiz, but it's going to be more of a game. It's called the color game, and I'm going to have the girls, which is also going to help with the moral development. Um, will with Culver stages. Um, I want them to really understand that it's just a game, and that there are rules, and we can't look at the other person what color that person is touching. So I'm gonna tell them a color out loud, and they're gonna go find it around the room and touch the color, and then we're gonna keep playing, and then I'm gonna raise their anxiety by telling them that I'm gonna count to 5. So they have 5 seconds to find the color, um, and I hope that I'm gonna be watching to see what they do. Um, so to not cheat, to not look at the other person, um, and that's really gonna help to that moral development. Well, this is my lesson plan, and I am really, really excited to teach your girls, and I think we're gonna have lots of fun learning Spanish together.